just like in Escape from New York, the Carolina Hurricanes are going to make it off the island, but they're going to do it with a huge win in thanks to Andrei Svechnikov and Frederik Andersen.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Wednesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the Everydayer for making this your first listen of the day. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes. I'm your host, Zach Martin. I'm their credentialed Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hockey Writers, also an AHL writer over at the Calder Times, the co-host of the Surgecast, along with all my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. Got a winning Wednesday episode for you guys as we get to talk about Andrei Svechnikov's huge night against New York Rangers where he got 2 goals. Frederik Andersen got a 22-save shutout. Also, we get to talk about how Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall in the same game both got their first point as Carolina Hurricanes. And then later on, we're going to listen to Rod Brind'Amour in his post-game press conference talking about the team and the win. So this was the third matchup of the season between the two sides. Of course, Carolina won the first 2 games already. 4-3 back home in Carolina in November, 3-1 in New York on December 22nd. And then on Tuesday night, they shut out the New York Rangers to take a 3-0 regular season stranglehold on the season series. And now they get to go back to Carolina on April 12th for the 3 p.m. start. So the Hurricanes are right now have beaten the Rangers in every single game, and they've actually swept them in New York. And what a great game was overall. So, real quick stats-wise, the Hurricanes did outshoot the Rangers 26-22. Penalty kill was 3 for 3 on the night. You'd love to see it. Power play was 0 for 2, but there was definitely a lot of chances. And the Hurricanes actually had 15 blocked shots, which is good to see for the fact that they're actually they're usually the one that's on the wrong side of the block stat. But hey, you will gladly take that. But the thing that really stood out in this game was one guy in particular for the most part, and that was Andrei Svechnikov, scoring 56 seconds into the first period to give the Hurricanes an early lead, of course, with assists from Taylor Hall and just bigger Kokoniemi. So it was Andrei's 16th, Hall's 16th assist, and Kokoniemi's 15th assist. Now, we'll talk about Taylor Hall later, but that was really cool to see the fact that you got Taylor Hall getting his first point as a Carolina Hurricane. So that's pretty much it for the first period. Hurricanes are outshot 10-8 in the first. Coming into the second period, they outshot the Rangers 10-9. And actually, at the 19:29 mark, so with 31 seconds left into the period, so 56 into the first period, Andrei Svechnikov scores. 31 seconds left into the second period, Andrei Svechnikov scores again on a really great sequence of passing. Svechnikov, got it out to Rantanen. Rantanen moved over to Blake, and then Blake was able to get it back over to Rantanen again, who was on a very tight angle. But being the guy, just being the player that he is, having the wherewithal to know where, kind of Andrei Svechnikov was and kind of just, just backhanded the puck right to Andrei Svechnikov, who with an Igor Shesterkin pretty much on the ground, basically all the net wide open, scores, gets his second in the game, 17th of the season. Of course, that's Mikko Rantanen's first as a Hurricane, but his 40th assist overall for the season. And Jackson Blake picks up with his 6th. The game ends 4-0, but Andrei Svechnikov gets 2 goals, and you just love to see that. But the great part, too, is, though, he actually added an assist in this game as well on the Sebastian Aho goal to make it 3-0, a minute and 4 seconds into the third. So have a night, Andrei Svechnikov, the fact that you got 2 goals, which I think puts him at 18 points in 20 games overall to the New York Rangers. So he just absolutely is a Ranger killer. Like I said, 18 points in 20 games, not bad at all. Of course, Sebastian Aho got a goal, and then Seth Jarvis makes it 4-0. Not that long after, probably about a minute and 26 seconds later, makes it 4-0. That's all she wrote. Hurricanes win 4-0. But the other guy that really stood out in this game, and that is Frederik Andersen. Have a game, Freddie Andersen. Coming into this one, you didn't really know who was going to play. I thought it might be Pierre Kachuk with the extra couple of days off, but they went with Frederik Andersen. He goes a perfect 22 for 22 in terms of saves, and for him, he actually becomes the fourth goalie this season for the Carolina Hurricanes to get the shutout, and that too is the Hurricanes are the fourth team in NHL history to have four goalies post a shutout in the single season. So Frederik Andersen, Pierre Kachekov, Spencer Martin, and Dustin Tokarski joined the 1972-73 Boston Bruins, the 1980-81 Montreal Canadiens, and the 2002-2003 St. Louis Blues. You absolutely love to see that for the fact that, he's out for 2 months, comes back, was a little shaky, did get some wins because he came back 3-1-0. Now he comes back, gets 3 straight wins. Now he's 6-1-0 on the season. You love to see that for Frederik Andersen. And the fact that you come in, you've played a couple games where it's like, okay, you're trying to get you're trying to get back into game shape. You're getting back ready. You face a Rangers team while, they had struggles this season. They were 6-1-3 coming into the game. But the Hurricanes, played really well too. They've won 6 of the last 10. So you come in and you make some really huge saves. You absolutely stone Chris Kreider on a couple goals. Even like that toe save where basically puck went to the other side of the crease. Kreider's all low. Basically the net's wide open. All you have to do is put your stick on the ice and basically kind of just redirect it or just kind of like do a single tap in. He tries to shove it in. Andersen somehow just flashes the pad, sticks it with the toe, and the goal does not go in. The puck doesn't go in, and you're just like, there was so many key saves in this game from Frederik Andersen. You're like, oh my goodness, the Great Dane is back. Like, what a way to make a statement for your third game back from injury. It wasn't the greatest games for the first 2, but you played decent. You're trying to get back into it, get back into the flow, get back into game action. Then you play the New York Rangers, and you absolutely shut them down. 22 saves, a lot of 10 bells. Like, just have an absolute night, Frederik Andersen. I will have to say, though, the Hurricanes, the skaters in front of them, also made a lot of big saves as well. Andrei Svechnikov, a certain goal for the Rangers, he stops it. Mikko Rantanen, in his own end as well, was able to clear a puck off the crease, basically, which could have gone backdoor to another New York Ranger, but he was able to intercept it and get the puck out. So not only did Frederik Andersen make some big saves for the Hurricanes, but he also had teammates making big ones as well. So, it's a night where you really have to appreciate Frederik Andersen for what he did, making a lot of huge saves. And you also got to appreciate, Andrei Svechnikov for the fact 2 goals, 3 points. Just have a night, Andrei Svechnikov. Have a night, Frederik Andersen. And I find it funny from Ryan Henkel from the Hockey News. He said, "Oh, that's all Andrei Svechnikov needed was some new friends," because of the 2 guys who gave him the primary assist for the first 2 goals of the game were all of the new guys from the recent trade. Like, that's just crazy how that kind of worked out. Like, that could not be more poetic for the fact that it's your second game with these guys. You finally get you get 2 practices in, and then this game, boom, primary assist on the first 2 goals. And I found this tidbit very interesting. Was that the Carolina Hurricanes, so it was from Peter Baugh. The Rangers have the distinction of allowing the first post-trade point to everyone in the Mikko Rantanen blockbuster. Rantanen and Taylor Hall each have assists. Of course, that was on Tuesday night. Their first points as Hurricanes. Jack Drury scored against New York on Sunday, and Martin Necas had 2 assists. That is absolutely wild for the fact that the Rangers were the team that gave up a lot of points to every single guy that was part of that trade. That is mind-blowing how that kind of worked out. So, hey, I guess I had the distinction New York Rangers for the fact that it's kind of like way to give all four guys their points. And you had basically to play both of those teams in quick succession. So, yeah, hockey gods, man. It's kind of a crazy thing. But so one quick tidbit, a couple quick tidbits before we go into the next segment and talk about Rantanen Hall a little bit more. This was very special. So Riley Stillman made his Hurricane debut on Tuesday night in this game. What, of course, it was Jack Roslovic wasn't in. So the Hurricanes actually played 11-7 against the Rangers and still won 4-0. That really should say a lot, which is kind of crazy to think about too, is the fact that you had a team who was played 11-7 and still got the shutout. But like I said, Riley Stillman came in for a very sick Jack Roslovic. He actually wore 61. That's the same number his dad Corey Stillman wore when they won the Cup back in 2005, 2006. He wore this. So Corey Stillman went from 05 to 08, and then again at the 10-11 season, he wore that 61. And of course, now his son Riley wore that jersey 17 years later. So you have a 17-year gap of Corey Stillman wearing 61. Now his son Riley and his son made his Carolina Hurricanes debut. So the vibes are always high when you have a Stillman and a 61 on the ice of the Carolina Hurricanes. But also this last cool tidbit. So Jesperi Kotkaniemi in this game, which it's going to be kind of surprising to a lot of people, he actually picked up a point. It was a secondary assist on the Andrei Svechnikov goal for the first one. That puts him on a 5-game point streak. You'll love to see that from Jesperi Kotkaniemi, the fact that he is on a heater right now. 5 points, on a 5-game point streak. Not bad at all. And that was a great sequence of a setup. To set up Andrei Svechnikov. So just what a night for the team to, go out there, play with 11-7, winning 4-0. Svechnikov with 2 goals. Like I said, got 3 points. 2 of the new guys both got an assist each. And Frederik Andersen gets a 22 save shot for his first shutout of the season. Now, talking about the new guys in Rantanen Hall, we are going to talk about them a little bit more of what impact they've already been making on the Hurricanes as of late, especially on Tuesday night where they got their first points with their team. So stick around, as we'll do that here in a second on a Wednesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Super Bowl 59 is here. 1 game, 2 teams, endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 59. Welcome back to segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So like I said at the end of segment 1, we got to talk about Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall a little bit more. We're still in the whirlwinds of we're still only a few days out. It's still kind of crazy to think that this is only the second game with Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall, for the fact that you got them Friday, played the Islanders on Saturday, then you have 2 days off with a practice on Monday, morning skate Tuesday, then you finally get to play them and get to see them against the Rangers. So you kind of have this little bit of a break of 2 days in between the Islanders and the Rangers after we got probably one of the biggest in-season trades for a guy like Mikko Rantanen and even Taylor Hall in a very long time. So it's kind of you're excited for this game. I feel like the fan base was already excited for the season, but I think when you get those 2 guys, they've really kicked it to another level of oh, okay, we have to watch these guys. And that's kind of where we're at now with, with Rantanen and Hall is you're at this level of everyone's already excited to watch this game, watch the Hurricanes game. So now you have that excitement of, all right, we want to see how the new guys do, because especially, you got a former Hart winner in Hall, multi-time all-star first overall pick, and of course you got Mikko Rantanen, who I think is going to be a Hall of Famer. A lot of people think this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer because you look at the seasons he's having. He's going to have his fourth straight 90-point season, third straight 100-point season as well. Stanley Cup champion, multiple Hart nominations. He finished in the top 10 twice already. This game was great to see for the fact that not just one of them, but both of them got points as Hurricanes on Tuesday night. So it's, Taylor Hall gets the first primary assist on the Andrei Svechnikov goal, and then Mikko Rantanen gets the primary assist on the second Svechnikov goal, with the fact that the first one was with under a minute into the game, and the second period was under a minute left in the period. So it's crazy to think of just how they kind of worked out perfectly, where it's like you're looking at a fast start to a game, and then you have like a backbreaker to finish the second period, and you're going to the second intermission up 2-0. But just an overall great game by both those guys, because when you look at the actual stats from how Hall and Rantanen did, it's one of those things where it's Taylor Hall finishes a +2, 18 minutes and 18 seconds, 24 shifts, didn't have a shot, but he did have a block. So I mean, it's still pretty solid for your Taylor Hall, and he did have a takeaway. So, and that's the thing for me with Taylor Hall, it's that they view him as another like Jordan Staal type guy, where maybe he's not going to get a lot of shots, because even Jordan Staal only had one shot. He's going to be one of those guys that's going to bring the physicality. Every shift he's going to be on it. Like, he's going to try to find a way to make his presence felt. So when you get 24 shifts, 18 minutes of 18 seconds of hockey, he's on the second power play unit. He's not that guy who has to score all the time. He's going to be, I view Taylor Hall as more of like that. He's that extra big body, that extra guy who's going to go out there and just forecheck you to death, and is the facilitator, the guy who's going to pass the puck a lot. And that's kind of what you saw in this game, where, like I said, he finishes the +2, didn't get a shot, but did have a block. So he's not afraid to put his body on the line, got his first point. And I've seen a lot of people are very excited to see how he is. And he was on What's Chaos with DJ Bean and Pete Blackburn, and how he was talking about that he's tired of moving teams. This is his 7th team already, and he wants to be able to go a few seasons in one spot. This is his 15th season. He could go for another 5 years if he really wanted to. So he's hoping that this is kind of like his last stop. Like, he wants to keep playing, but he's hoping that Carolina could be the last spot he gets to go to. So honestly, I mean, right now he's making $6 million. Could there be a possibility that he could take a smaller contract to stay in Carolina for maybe 2 to 3 seasons? I think it's very likely, because the Hurricanes have already liked Taylor Hall for a while. It worked out that they got him, and they got him for a 3rd-round pick, essentially. And that's even with, even with the Blackhawks retaining half of Rantanen's contract. If there's a possibility where they want to bring Taylor Hall back, and Hall's like, hey, I'll come back for $3 million, something where it's doable, $2.5–3 million. He's a legit bottom 6 guy, someone that you can maybe slot in with the Jordans. Maybe he's that 4th line guy who could bring some physicality down to whoever's on that line when they figure who their 4th line center is. Maybe you can put him with Robinson on the other end when they hopefully re-sign Robinson too. Or if you want someone to be that other physical presence on the second line and someone who you can put on the power play 2 unit, Taylor Hall is that guy. So if he wants to stay in Carolina, if the Hurricanes think that, hey, we can make a deal work to still pay Hall, pay Rantanen, Robinson, and all the other guys that are going to bring on a free agency and goaltending, I don't see why not. I mean, Taylor Hall, I've always liked Taylor Hall's game. Like, he's been a guy, like I said, he's got over 700 points in over 800 games. Former MVP of the league. Like, you will gladly take a guy like that in your team. If you can make the cap work, then there you go. That's all you need to do. So Taylor Hall has done phenomenal for the Hurricanes. Even in his first game with no practice, he definitely stood out in this one as well. So just very exciting to have him on this team, 100%. Now looking at Mikko Rantanen, got an assist, was a +1, played 18 minutes and 42 seconds, 19 shifts, went on the first power play, but he had 3 shots on the game, threw a hit, and I think he even, he just played a great game overall. You could definitely tell that when Mikko Rantanen's on the ice for the fact that he's a big body, but he did throw a hit. He throws hits, he sets up plays. That play with the Andrei Svechnikov second goal, where he takes it off of Blake's stick after getting to him the first time, got the back pass from across the ice. He got it. Knowing he knew he had a really bad angle against Igor Shesterkin. And any other guy would have like, okay, I'm just going to put a shot on and see what happens and stuff like that, or maybe misses the net or what have you. And instead of taking the shot for himself, he's like, okay, I know Andrei Svechnikov's kind of right there. I saw him. I saw him streaking up the middle of the ice. He's going to be between the circles. So it's like he knew he was going to be there. And just that hockey IQ, that peripheral work that is, Mikko Rantanen, knew Svech was going to be there, passes it right back to him. Igor Shesterkin's on the ice. Like, he's basically got the goal wide open, and it was basically an easy, just a backhand shovel tip in from Andrei Svechnikov. And the fact you could tell that Andre even pointed right to Mikko, too, to say, hey, that was a phenomenal pass. And it was. For his 40th of the season, his first as a Hurricane, if that's the type of assist you can get from Mikko Rantanen, where it's like his presence draws guys in and leave other guys open, the fact that he can make plays like this, that is why you got Mikko Rantanen. And the fact, just wait until that first goal pops up. And if he scores in his first home game for the Carolina Hurricanes at Lenovo Center, that roof is going to be blown off the place. Like, that place is going to go nuts. They're going to be hearing Moose's Loose chants. I know the shirts are, on pre-order. The buzz around Mikko Rantanen in Carolina is massive. And, it's good to see guys' first point on the same night Taylor Hall did. It's just the way Mikko Rantanen plays. It's unreal. I know some people are saying, okay, Mikko Rantanen is maybe a top 15, top 10. Hey, if you want to have the argument, that's fine. I just know for me personally, just being on Fifth Line Podcast and, Puck Report and all these other podcasts, they ask me, like, how you view Mikko Rantanen? I view Mikko Rantanen as a top 5 player in the league. You could say maybe he's not, but in my opinion, just how good he is and the fact that he's been that rock solid for so long, you have to look at him as a top 5 guy, in my opinion. You could say something different, but that's just me. I'm excited as a Carolina Hurricane, and it's just great to see. So you love to see that Rantanen and Hall on the same night got assists, got their first points as Carolina Hurricanes, and now you're waiting for that first goal. And if they can do that in the next game, or if at least it's Mikko or Taylor Hall does it late down the road, once they get their first goal as Carolina Hurricanes, it's going to be really exciting for everyone. And I hope it's at home at Lenovo, so that the entire roof just comes off the place, because it's going to be electric when those guys score. So the Hurricanes, like I said, did win 4-0. They have a regular season stranglehold 3-0 on the series. You love to see it. They swept the Rangers in New York. Now they come back to Carolina in April. Hopefully they go 4-4. But we did hear from the head coach, Rod Brind'Amour, after the game. So we will jump into that. So stick around, as we'll do that here in a second on a Wednesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Attending NFL playoff games is an unforgettable experience that brings fans together. I remember the excitement and energy of a playoff game I attended last year, and I'm looking forward to making new memories this season. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. It fills out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Welcome back to segment 3 of Locked on Hurricanes, your team every day. So like I said, at the end of segment 2, we're going to jump into the post-game press conference, listen to Rod Brind'Amour get his thoughts on the team's 4-0 win against the New York Rangers. So without further ado, let's jump into that right now.
Svechnikov said that it looked like Taylor Hall was in one tonight.
Well, I think he was dominant. Not dominant, but he was noticeable every shift, and that's what we need out of him. And if he can continue to do that, we're got a real good player there.
Svechnikov, obviously, the scoring's important, but the back check on not allowing the goal just a 200-foot game.
Well, that's part of it. We all got to do that. I mean, there was a couple tonight. I think Rance had one too in the third, where it's a difference, right? That's the difference between winning and losing. So there's a couple good plays there tonight, made on the offensive end, but also defense. You got to do both.
Yeah. The play that on the second goal, I mean, obviously Trocheck doesn't shoot on the breakaway, and then it's the way you guys is that what you want to see there? Just move it quick, kind of catch them.
Well, it wasn't a great power play, and we kind of butchered it. Gave them actually the better looks, but that was a transition goal. I mean, I think the players we've added, we're going to probably see a little more of that kind of stuff versus maybe some of the others the way we've been playing. So there's a little transition going on here, but we get open ice with the players we've added. I think you're going to see a little more of that.
Third period too. I mean, that game, the game turns on that goal, and then to come out the way you guys did in the third.
Yeah, I'd probably put it a little bit of a dagger in there when we score right away like that, and then I like the way we played the rest of the period. We had gave it one really good chance with Zibanejad there on a breakaway, but other than that, they really didn't have much. So that's the way you got to play it.
It feels like so many times in this building they always find a way to get one on you to either take the lead or get back in. How big was it in the second to make sure they didn't get that?
Well, that's just what you guys are mentioning here. That second goal could have went. That's hockey, right? It's come down to one end and you don't execute, and then and there's your game. I mean, that's the difference in the game, really. Probably maybe even that play. Other than that, it was probably even a lot of chances really early for back and forth, grade A chances. Not really how you want to do it, but we walked out here with 2 points, so we're happy.
Rod, you guys are the fourth team in NHL history to have 4 goalies with at least a shutout in the same season. Hasn't been done.
Say that again.
It's the fourth team in NHL history to have 4 different goalies with at least one shutout.
4 different goalies.
4 different goalies with one shutout.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good. I'm not sure that's a good stat.
Well, it might be a team stat.
Yeah, well, it's oh boy, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to be on that list. That's a lot of stress on everybody. But I mean, it does say a little bit about the group. I think that we can figure it out. It's nice to have the top guys back, though.
That's a nice moment for Freddie. I mean, he's done this a long time, but for him to come back, get a shutout this early and coming back from his injury could give him a little boost.
I hope so. I mean, we all know what it's a little bit pins and needles when he's in there, because you just don't know what's going to happen there with the history. But we know when he's healthy, he's solid, and we know how important that position is.
What do you think of the new number 61?
The new one? Yeah, no, he was good tonight. He hasn't played all year for us. I mean, he's played, but it's nice to see him in there. I remember him as a little kid, skating on the ice with his dad and coming out, and time flies.
Corey never had a fight for you guys, so he's already beat
he's
that
done. Yeah, well, he's got a ways to go to beat his dad and the other stuff. But he was, for 7 minutes he was impactful.
Big thank you to Rod Brind'Amour and the Carolina Hurricanes, as always, for giving us that awesome audio to listen to. So much to unpack from that. It's funny how he talks about Taylor Hall, how great he was playing. Yeah, it wasn't dominant per se, but someone who was impactful in every shift. Of course, Mikko Rantanen doing some great plays as well. It's great to see the guys that you want to go, that you traded for, that is supposed to be a big boost to your team, play to a big boost mentality. Yeah, the power play could have been better, but just for the fact that they were able to find a way to be good on the penalty kill and then do the transition and works out to where you kind of, you get a takeaway off of a very that was kind of a crazy pass finish that Trocheck had. Come back, you go down and score yourselves. You'd love to see that. Frederik Andersen, like I said, 22 saves. And I like how the fact that someone asked Rod about the 4 different goalies in the same season getting a shutout. And he's like, hey, it's a great team stat, but don't want to do that again because, like he said, putting a lot of stress on the team. And he's glad that, he's got Kochetkov and Andersen back, which, yeah, it definitely is because that's a really good tandem when they're both healthy and ready to go. But, yeah, maybe that's not one of the stats you really want to have when you're having to run through 4 different goalies, and they all got shutouts. But it's definitely a lot of stress and making you kind of worry, like, okay, we don't really have our main guys. How are these guys going to do? So it kind of worked out nicely. But and of course, they talk about Riley Stillman, how his father Corey never had a fight. He did, but yeah, he's got a long way to go. But hey, a great debut. You played less than 8 minutes. That's the unfortunate part of 11-7. That you might not get a lot of ice time as the 7th D-man, but you're kind of just there as, as kind of a filler. If guys are getting tired, you can kind of go on the ice and be that guy. So, not a bad night for Corey, for Riley Stillman being the impactful guy with less than 8 minutes of ice time and, having to be that on-man 7th D-man that's out there kind of, getting in there when you really can and stuff like that. So, but hopefully Jack Roslovic feels better soon. I know it stinks to being sick and being out. So I guess we'll see how that kind of goes when they're back, on Thursday at home to face the Chicago Blackhawks, and then you got the LA Kings coming to town on Saturday. So it'll definitely be interesting for sure for the fact that, the Blackhawks just beat the Tampa Bay Lightning on Tuesday night. So, that's going to be a team that's going to be coming in there kind of feeling good about themselves. But, hey, you're the Hurricanes. You just took 3 points out of New York in the last 3 games. You took a total of 5 out of 6. Not bad, honestly, for your last 3 Metro games. You take a nice 5 out of 6. So you'll gladly take that. Now you got 2 Western Conference teams coming into town. And the Blackhawks, you just saw them last week. So there's your 2 games in 10 days. Now you finally get the LA Kings. So it'll definitely be interesting how all of that works out. But honestly, it's going to be fun, though, on Thursday because then you get to see Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall at Lenovo Center for the first time this season as Carolina Hurricanes. Of course, with Taylor Hall, the Hurricanes saw him when he was a Blackhawk, but it was at UC. Now you get to see him in Carolina for the first time the first time this season, but it's also going to be as a Carolina Hurricane. But with Mikko Rantanen, saw him earlier this year back in December. Now in the end of January, now he's a Carolina Hurricane. So Thursday is definitely going to be fun for sure. But for the Wednesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, well, that's just going to have to be the end of it, guys. I'm sorry. But thank you for making it your first listen of the day. Now, for your second listen, well, why don't you go check out Locked On Fantasy Hockey? Become a fantasy hockey expert and get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from Steal and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, if you want to keep up with me, I'm at OneTrueZach on X. The podcast is LO_Hurricanes. I am also on Blue Sky at the Zachary Martin. I do have link trees in both my bios, where you can find all of my articles at the Hockey Writers, or just go to thehockeywriters.com. Same thing for all my AHL content at the Calder Times or thecaldertimes.com. If you want to check out my other podcast, well, it's the Searchcast on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. For this show, well, Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts, just look up Locked On Hurricanes, follow, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating and review because I might just read it on the show. If you're on the YouTube side of things, well, it's Locked On Hurricanes. Subscribe. Hit the notification so you don't miss the show. Hit the thumbs up button, let me know if you like the show as well. Share with all other KNX to become everydayers just like you. I hope everyone enjoyed the Wednesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Hope everyone enjoys their Wednesday. And until next time, as always, let's go Canes.